All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. The title of this lesson is going to be called Every Fire Needs Fuel. Okay, because as we've been commanded here in Matthew chapter 10, verse 7, which I'm going to go ahead and read it, it says, "And as you go, preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand." In order to go, we have to have some type of motivation. We have to have a driving force that, is constantly pushing us to, to move forward, man. All right. The scriptures say what? Give diligence to make our calling and election sure. Okay. Oops. This is First Peter. Oh, I'm sorry. This is, it's Second Peter chapter 1, verse 10. It says, "Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if ye do these things, ye shall never fall." Now, this is a commandment, okay? And so the question is, how do we carry out the commandment, okay? First of all, let's get that word diligence, which is in the Greek spoudazo. Constant, strenuous effort. It says Strong's H 4704, spoudazo. It says to hasten, make haste, to exert oneself, to endeavor, to give diligence. All right, to make effort, to be prompt or earnest, endeavor, study. Okay, and so that's what we are supposed to be, occupying ourselves with. And in order to be consistent with it, because that's the key to success right there, is it's consistency. You know what I mean? If you outlast everybody else, you're going to be the only one that, is going to be able to say, I did it. Right. And so, this is a fight until the end. Now, let me go ahead and kind of get some scriptures pertaining the topic of, that fire, describing what that is. This is Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 9. It says, Then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name. All right, this is Jeremiah talking about pretty much how he was being persecuted. If you read up, he was being persecuted whenever he was prophesied, and it says, as a matter of fact, I might as well read verse 8 in the NLT. It says, "When I speak, the words burst out, violence and destruction I shout. So these messages from Yahweh have made me a household joke." Right. So we, like the scriptures say, become a laughing stock. Okay. Unto our people, man. If you read the previous verse on that as well, it talks about that, man. It says, "Now I am mocked every day. Everyone laughs at me." So we know that, we're going to be made a joke, to these people, which is why, most of them are going to be condemned. All right. But that doesn't take away from the fact of the seriousness of the topic. All right. It says, then I said, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name. But his word was in mine heart as a burning fire, shut up in my bones. And I was weary with forbearing, and I could not stay. Okay. And so we can't continue to, have that fire, right, and not let it out, man. Okay. And that fire, again, being this truth, being the words of wisdom, the Spirit of the Lord dwelling within us to speak his word. Now, what is the fuel? Well, the fuel needs to be our motivation. It needs to be, our earnest expectation of the kingdom. Okay. Because we understand through prophecy, as long as we continue in the path that we're on, that the Lord is going to, fight for us, man. Like the scriptures say, strive for the truth unto death. Okay. Now, continuing on in Psalms 39. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get this in Psalms chapter 39. And I'll start at verse 1. It says, "Blessed is the man that walketh not." Oh, hold on. That's Psalms 1. I don't know what's going on there. Psalms 39. Even though it's a good one, but Psalms 39 and 1, it says, "To the chief musician, even Jeduthun, a psalm of David. I said, I will take heed to my ways, that I will not sin with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle while the wicked is before me, which that's practicing wisdom. You don't want to, speak out of turn, you know what I'm saying, especially around people that have demons on them. You know what I mean? They could, if you start preaching about the truth, whatever the case is, in the wrong setting, it can mess up your situation. All right. And but David took it a step further. He said in verse 2, it says, I was done with silence. I held my peace, even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. Because, again, our natural inclination is to judge. You know what I mean? And, people have a problem with that because they don't have the spirit of judgment on them. But, they're seeing us judge them, and they're like questioning, why are you judging us? What's going on? Like, why are you so opinionated, this and that? Well, it's because we know the scriptures and we know what the Lord said. And so David, saw things that, he could have pretty much spoke on and it would have benefited, judgment would have been beneficial judgment. And he said that, look, he not going to speak. He said he going to keep his tongue, to keep your tongue, mean not to speak. And, he said his sorrow was stirred. Okay. It says in the NLT, but as I stood there in silence, not even speaking of good things, the turmoil within me grew worse. And that's what can happen. You know what I'm saying? We're constantly vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. You know what I mean? We're judging in our minds all day, but we need to let it out, man. All right. We need to let it out. You know what I mean? Because that is gonna, that spirit is gonna build up within us. We need an outlet, so to speak, which is preaching, man. You know what I mean? And having a intimate relationship with Yahweh Shem Shai, we are obligated to make sure that we show our appreciation and that we continue to, to grow in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right, because the scriptures say, be thou therefore perfect, which when you go into perfect, it means to be complete, and Yahweh Shai said that, be thou therefore perfect as the Lord in heaven, as my Father in heaven is perfect. Okay. And so, we need to come to a complete understanding of the scriptures, man. Okay. And a proper application of it, and also experiences, man. We're gonna be, this whole experience of us being in captivity is completing us. It's perfecting our understanding, man, of what it means to be in a wicked society, what sin leads to, which is death. And we're seeing the completeness of that. Okay. Now here's the point in verse 3. My heart was hot within me while I was musing, the fire burned. And it says, then spake I with my tongue, Lord, make me to know mine end and the measure of my days, what it is, that I may know how frail I am. All right. But if you go to verse 3 again, which is the point, it says that my heart was hot within me. And while I was musing, and basically that means to think. If you look on the NLT version, it says, while I was musing, the fire burned. Then spake I with my tongue. So we're going to speak. We have to speak, man. Okay. It's not healthy for us to not speak, to not prophesy, to not preach. Okay. And as we do these things, again, we are confirming our relationship and furthering and establishing our relationship with Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay. And I might have to do a part 2 on this because this was meant to be a quicker lesson, but I had some more precepts stored up. This is Acts. I'm gonna go ahead and get this in Acts chapter 17 and verse 16. And this is when Paul was in Athens, and Athens was this was during the Roman Empire, but still Athens was part of the Roman Empire, of course, where you had a lot of Hellenized Israelite foreigners, okay, that were following the pagan customs. If you read into the history of the Maccabees, you'll see that Antiochus Epiphanes had pretty much made the city Jerusalem, okay, and specifically the temple, which was the pinnacle of the Israelite society. He made he made that city, and specifically the temple as well, to basically practice pagan worship, man, in various different ways. He changed the way that we sacrifice to the Lord, okay, and essentially that led to multiple events following the Hellenization, or if you, in layman's terms, the Westernization, even though it wasn't the West back in that time, but it made all citizens of that at that point it was the Grecian Empire, made them pretty much Greeks. You know what I mean? They spoke the same language. They pretty much became one people, even though obviously you got multiple different nations that were under the jurisdiction of the Grecian Empire, which later was overthrown by the Roman Empire. So you have, at this point in time, the city of Athens, which was, I believe, I know it's the capital of Greece now. I mean, I would think that it would have been back then as well. So this is a pinnacle city, in the Roman Empire, and Paul was, obviously sent there to preach the gospel unto the Israelite foreigners. And it says, now while Paul waited for them in Athens, because he was waiting for Silas and Timotheus, okay, to come, preach and preach with him. It says, while he waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him. But he saw this, when it says his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry. So same thing in America, man. You know what I'm saying? If we just sit down, in a lawn chair in downtown, and we see all the madness and wickedness going on, it make you want to preach, man. It make you want to condemn this place. And it's a lot easier to do it, when you're seeing the wickedness right there in front of you, and it's not hidden. You're seeing the fruit of Esau having us in captivity. You're seeing the fruit of, women's rights and feminism, walking down the street, man. And it vexes you, man. And it gives us fuel to continue to burn our fire. So every fire needs fuel, man. Every fire needs fuel. That's why it's important to continue to watch the news. That's why it's important to not let that fire go out. Okay. Because, as it dwindles, of course, your inspiration, if you will, and your morale will be decreased, without that fuel. And then consequently, again, it's going to, that fire is eventually going to burn out, man. If you're not putting, no type of firewood in a fireplace, eventually that firewood is going to burn for a little bit, and it's going to go down and go down and go down and go down until it's, until it's done. So you got to keep feeding that fire, man. So, Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson. With that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Kakudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.